Frontline Conversations, leading the debate since 1984.
Welcome to Frontline Conversations, Mr. Tarigami. I'm Amit Baruah, a freelance journalist. I just wanted to first congratulate you on your victory and then ask you, what is this vote in Kashmir all about? Can you explain for our listeners?
First of all, it is a pleasure to meet you after a long gap. And then talking to you and talking to Frontline is always a pleasure. So, as far as the elections, recently had elections for assembly, and all of us know that this election has been held after a long gap. Earlier, 2014 elections were held for assembly. Since then, there was no election. Now, because of the Supreme Court intervention and other genuine voices which were raised in the parliament and outside, that's how the government was, persuaded to work in this direction. And accordingly, the Election Commission of India initiated the process, which is now completed. So now the mandate, as far as mandate is concerned, you look at it, now the mandate is quite wonderful. Wonderful in the sense, silently, people came out in good numbers everywhere in urban areas.
Did you expect it?
I expected because of my own experience, because after a lull. You see, all of us know, you know it, I know it as a citizen, that Jammu and Kashmir was deprived of many constitutional rights guaranteed by the Constitution itself. And then there were many day-to-day issues which have remained pending, and huge noises were made by the authorities, both in Delhi as well as in Srinagar or Jammu, about normalcy, about peace and all that, everything. But we were not allowed to speak out. Journalists were not allowed to speak, to write, to express. Even the employees were treated as second-grade citizens. They are being dictated, asked, and not even the trade union rights for association, rights for speaking out in favor of their own demands. And you see, there was a lull. As far as Kashmir was concerned, everybody was talking about there is silence. And they were misreading the situation as if this is acceptance of whatever government of India has done.
So you think that post 2019, post abrogation of special status, this is the first time people of Kashmir and Jammu got a right to express themselves?
Yes.
And they have said very clearly, what have they said clearly?
Yes.
Yeah, and what do you think they've said?
You see, that this is the only option that was left and which was provided after a long gap now to the people of Kashmir and Jammu. And that's why they have come open in big numbers. It's not the question of whether there is peace or no peace. The question is willingness of the common people to come on the streets and join the electoral fray. That was not by compulsion. And compulsion was that there was no other choice except to come open and avail this opportunity, express themselves. That's what they did.
I came across a few people who voted for their first time in their lives, and some of them are in 50s and 60s. What would you say about that?
You see, again, the younger generation, that is, the voices have been choked. They are, you see, as far as our younger generation is concerned, that is the same as in the rest of the country. They want a good life. They want jobs. They want better facilities as far as education facilities are concerned. And they want better treatment by the administration. Now, look at it, what is happening here. Now, we have an administration since 2018 and before as well, that is the officers, bureaucrats, even not known, not opening to the people, common people. So it was some sort of atmosphere which did not provide any opportunity for the common people, including the younger generation, to speak out, to express their concerns. Where to go? One opportunity has come after a long gap. That too with the intervention of Honorable Supreme Court, mostly. And then the voices were raised in the parliament and outside. That is how this process was initiated and now completed. This was seen as the only option left for the people, including all the sections of the people, whether he is a trader, whether he is an unemployed youth, whether he is a student, whether he is a girl, student and all that, all those sections of the people which remained under atmosphere of forced silence.
So would you say in the Kashmir Valley this is a vote against the BJP and whatever?
Certainly, this is not a question of me or you telling it. We are nobodies to tell whether it is BJP is for or against. It is certainly against the policies pursued by the government of India, BJP government, vis-a-vis Jammu and Kashmir. That's what it is. Now, after a long time, it's not that Prime Minister came here. He talked about उनका फूल हर जगह बट वो फूल नजर नहीं आया ना इन चुनावों में. That was not seen anywhere.
And what would you say? The performance of the national conference can only be described as fantastic, but the PDP has been decimated, and so has the Congress. What is that
So
say?
as far as Kashmir is concerned, I'm telling you, unfortunately, as far as our state is concerned, it was earlier, not unfortunately, composed of three regions, Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. Now Ladakh is a separate union territory. But again, you see, the call of this party, BJP, the government itself, has remained to divide us further between Jammu and Kashmir, to build up walls of hatred and certain amount of suspicions as well. They were created, they were promoted as well.
And they did everything to come to power through the Jammu route.
You see, through the Jammu route, through any route, and particularly via Jammu.
Via Jammu.
Via Jammu. They did it. They floated certain proxies here. There were earlier as well, in 2019, when that whole assault took place against Article 37035A and downgrading the state itself. At that moment, they created some sort of a different, they tried to reorganize the political structures here. Those who can say yes men, platforms which can say yes to whatever the government of India did. And they did create certain platforms. But not only that, they did not remain confined to this. During this election, more platforms more proxies were created. You might be knowing Jamaat-e-Islami has been one.
They contested against you as well in Kulgam.
Against me, rather that constituency was under focus. And that too not just Jamaat-e-Islami, facilitated by the government of India, by the BJP, by the administration itself. Facilitation. They contested as independents because that organization remains banned normally. So they were allowed to function. They announced that we are Jamaat-e-Islami people and all that. 6. And if you go through the record, all the 5 seats where they got negligible vote share, because they did not concentrate there. They got some share in Kulgam because they focused there. And why did they focus there? Because they were asked to focus there by those who are in authority. My point is, this government has done whatever was possible to vitiate the atmosphere, to devalue the democratic process itself. We have been contesting since long. And we have been always asking that we, the people of Kashmir, Jammu and Ladakh, want to be part of Indian democracy. You see, the question of integration, they are claiming about integration has taken place or integration is getting strengthened. Territorial integration is unquestionable. And army is taking care of our borders and all that. But the question is integration of the minds of the people with the rest of the country. That comes through not through the barrel of the gun or lathi, that comes through certain protection of rights of the people. You have to win over the minds of the people, then only you can do it. And that's what the people of Kashmir, Jammu aspired for, that we have to be part of Indian democracy.
So there's a huge mandate, no doubt, for the national conference. And a bit interestingly, the Congress seems to have won seats in the valley and not in the Jammu region.
5 seats, yeah.
Yes. So what is your sense? I mean, how will this new government face the challenges? Because expectations are now high with the mandate that the national conference has got.
No doubt, expectations are very high, but there are limitations as well. Through Reorganization Act, earlier there was delimitation, process was conducted, and ignoring the very basis for any delimitation process, that is the census. According to the census of 2011, majority remains here in Kashmir Valley and Jammu remains less populated. But they increased it 7 members, more members, 6 for Jammu, not on the basis of population, and only 1 for Kashmir. Again, not only confining to that level, they have further, on the one hand, they are claiming, Prime Minister has said, Home Minister is saying repeatedly that we are committed for restoration of statehood. But before elections were announced by the Election Commission, what they did is further amended the Reorganization Act. Public order has been given charge to LG, and the posting and transfer of senior IAS, IPS officers,
And appointment of law officers.
and appointment of law officers, anti-election, just corruption bureau and all that. All those institutions have been handed over to LG. Can you imagine?
So this is like a Delhi type situation in a sense.
More than that, no. Another issue is, you see, in the parliament recently, budget was approved, national budget, according as well, the Jammu Kashmir budget was presented and approved by the parliament itself in absence of the assembly here. Do you know what happened? The police budget has been listed in the union budget. This is nowhere seen. Police budget of Jammu and Kashmir has been listed in the union budget. That means what? Putting police under direct control of Delhi.
So which means that if Omar Abdullah becomes chief minister tomorrow, day after, whenever he becomes, that means the responsibility for law and order, if in case something happens,
Yes,
is rests with Delhi and not the chief minister.
Yes. Not even an SHO and all that, SP and whatever, law and order. Absolutely, that remains within the frame of.
So God forbid there are any terrorist incidents, that lies at the door of the center then.
Yes. Whatever, even the processions, demonstrations, whatever, law and order. Public order means what? So that means actually the whole security scenario will be dealt with directly by the government of India, not trusting the representatives of the people of Jammu and Kashmir.
And in your analysis, you mentioned earlier in our conversation that finally the elections, there was a date given by the Supreme Court, which is why the elections have happened. Now, in the case of statehood, do you think it's going to happen?
Again, I must tell you, they are mentioning that it is the direction of the Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court, to hold elections. That, of course, is there. But there is a mention as well of statehood. Nobody is referring to that. The mention is that that Solicitor General has assured the Honorable Court assurance of what? Restoration of statehood. That's not mentioned now by the government, that there is another assurance given by the government to the Supreme Court as well. They are not implementing that. Rather, before the elections, before the new assembly is constituted, they are further making an amendment in the Reorganization Act itself, which has reduced the whatever little power the assembly was having or cabinet was having.
And so what's your sense? Statehood is a distant prospect?
No, I don't know what happens, but certainly it needs a big support from the rest of the country for the people, because I am worried. They have talked about that now. There is peace and there is normalcy. We have been sufferers now with the people of Kashmir and Jammu more about this violence, frame of violence, different circles of violence. But you just tell me, can you have peace minus the people anywhere? You see, people are the real stakeholders. They must be taken into confidence. And that's what has happened. The peace is here because of their huge security structures available in Kashmir Valley. What happened in Jammu? How unfortunate. There are certain serious issues which took place during this period, quite in recent times, where our army personnel, officers got killed. So still they are claiming that we have done what was not done earlier. So that's why we suggest, we appeal to the people in the rest of the country, the parliament itself, that you have to come, you have to understand what is happening in Jammu and Kashmir. At least now we will get a legitimate platform called a legislature where we can cry for listening to us and doing whatever is required for protecting the rights of the people of Jammu and Kashmir and strengthening the democracy in this region of the country as well.
Mr. Tarigami, you were the spokesperson of the Gupkar Alliance. You've been, watching developments closely. So one of the things that could be of concern is that there will be hardly any representation from Jammu in the Council of Ministers. Two Hindus have been elected, as I understand, on the National Conference ticket. So to expand representation, what could the new Chief Minister do?
You see, the question is that is a worrying factor for us. That is unfortunate polarization, which has been promoted by those who are in power, in our view. Should have not been, because you may govern, you may not govern, you may be in a position, you may be a ruling party, whatever, but not at the cost of the division among the people. That is much more dangerous for us here in this sensitive area, Jammu and Kashmir, a border state. But that has happened. So it's a difficult task for us. But nevertheless, I have been of this opinion, we all are of this opinion, that Kashmir and Jammu has to travel together, come what may. Whether there are 2 members of this community or 3 members of that committee.
There are some independents who are Hindus
We will try. We don't know yet who is who, what is what, and how much willingness they have to cooperate and all that. All those things matter. Otherwise, doors should be open.
And unfortunately, there is no legislative council either.
There's no council where we could have taken care of certain areas and all that. That too is abolished now. So this is a very, very...
So in a sense, polarization is a policy, which of the central government?
Yes, that is what it is seen like that. It's not that you and me are talking about. It is what they are doing. The intent is to polarize the situation further. That is how they have been working in the rest of the many areas of the country, and they are doing it now here in Jammu and Kashmir as well.
And what is your sense, down the line, what kind of relationship do you think the government here can have with the central government?
You see, we don't have any choice except to work together, to seek relief from the government of India, where from we will go, whom to approach. We have to approach the government of India. And it's not in the interest of the people of Jammu and Kashmir to confront the government of India. It's not, our size is too small. And then it's not in our interest. So going by the standards of what we have talking to the people, whether it is the restoration of statehood, restoration of other rights, or well-being of the people, livelihood issues, we are dependent on the government of India. So naturally, we will seek solutions in consultation with those who are in authority in that. We will try for that.
And what is your sense? This release of Engineer Rashid and allowing the Jamaat-e-Islami to contest elections even while it remains a banned organization, was it to ensure that the votes of the mainline parties are split? Is that the objective?
That's what it is. You see, we don't have, as a student of politics, I don't have any objection of anybody contesting elections. Be A, B, C, whether I like it or not. That's not the question of that my liking and disliking. The question is that legitimacy should be there. What is the legitimacy? Now, on the one hand, Jamaat-e-Islami remains banned. On the other hand, the Jamaat-e-Islami is being facilitated to conduct their campaign, to file the nomination as independents. And they are telling openly that we belong to Jamaat-e-Islami. It's not that they are hiding it. They are not doing it. So the question is, the government, on the one hand, where earlier, if at all you go through the record, they have been opposing National Conference, Congress, PDP, CPM and others, who are adopting a policy of appeasement toward secessionists and militants and all that. What is this? A Jamaat-e-Islami has been a vehicle which has been arguing for some sort of a secession and all that in the recent past. Now there is a U-turn. Neither they explain it to the people, why this U-turn, nor the government of India is explaining to the rest of the country why they are facilitating this U-turn, those who have been advocating secession.
My last question is a bit of a personal one. You're going to be a fifth term MLA. As a voter, from the people I speak to in Srinagar, there seems to be general happiness at the mandate. How do you, after a long time, you get this feeling that people are happy about their vote and its result?
My point is, you see, at one point of time, there was a boycott as well, you might have seen, and there was fear and everything. As of now, there is some only the hope to get some relief because the voices have been choked, every option has been closed, even to cry, even to protest peacefully, even to agitate over the issues, genuine issues, day-to-day issues. They were handed over to the bureaucrats, unknown bureaucrats, for a long period, punished rather. And that's why people opt for making it convenient to get some relief. Even if it is little, they will rejoice, they will celebrate it, in my opinion. But certainly, it is a much more responsibility on the people, those who have been elected, to deliver. And it is much more responsibility on the government of the day at the national level. Don't miss this opportunity. People are showing confidence on the electoral process, democratic process. Do have some respect for that. Do whatever is required to be done so that this process gets strengthened, does not get diluted.
Mr. Tarigami, thank you so much for talking to Frontline Conversations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for the next episode of Frontline Conversations.